stabs the victim. He's hit in the torso. He was at the edge of death at least twice.
The defendant admitted to shooting his mother after an argument about a cell phone where she had taken it away from him that morning.
That's right, run.
Andre Boynton was already serving a life sentence for a 2008 conviction when new allegations surfaced. In early 2014, while incarcerated, he used prison phone calls to direct his girlfriend, Annika George, in a disturbing scheme involving boys and girls. Authorities uncovered the operation in 2016, leading to serious charges including human trafficking, conspiracy, and kidnapping. During pretrial hearings, tensions rose when Boynton repeatedly disrupted the courtroom, insisting his lawyer didn't represent him and demanding to speak for himself.
Okay, so I made my ruling, and the warning stands.
I object to that.
You will speak through your lawyer.
He is not my lawyer, and he does not speak for me.
He's your lawyer.
He is not my lawyer.
If you want to
and he
keep
does not
having
speak
this
for me.
conversation, it's the holding cell for the rest of the trial. Do you want to keep having the?
He's not representing me, so it doesn't matter what the outcome is going to be the same. He has done nothing I asked him to do. Not
Are you going
one.
to keep talking?
Are you going to listen?
Are you going to keep talking?
If the court listens.
We're not having any more dialogue. Are you going to keep talking?
I want to represent myself. And I
Alright,
reserve my
Mr. Sims is-
constitutional rights to do that.
Representing you in this matter.
He is not my
Is there
lawyer, and he
anything
does not
further
speak for
before
me.
we bring the jury in?
I appointed you fiduciary trustee to
Okay.
close out and settle this case.
All right, I'm going to rule that you are unruly and you are to be removed from the courtroom. You are disrupting this
Ruby
trial.
Sims, you are a
And
f***ing
we
record. You're
cannot-
not my lawyer. You don't represent me.
Reasonably conduct this trial with your presence.
That's fine. You were fired, and you're not my lawyer. You don't represent me. Don't speak on my behalf. I will charge you for interfering in my commercial affairs. $100,000 for every time you speak in my behalf.
After multiple warnings, Judge Sherry Mayday ordered him removed so proceedings could continue without interruptions. In August 2017, a Cleveland jury convicted Boynton and George on numerous counts, describing the case as one of the most severe they had ever handled. Both were sentenced to life in prison without parole, with the judge citing the gravity of their actions. The Ohio Court of Appeals later upheld the convictions in November 2018, affirming Boynton's role as the orchestrator behind the crimes. In 2013, authorities in Corona, California began investigating special education teacher Summer Michelle Hansen after the school district raised concerns about her conduct with a former student. The investigation revealed she had inappropriate relationships with 5 boys, none of them her students, between May 2012 and May 2013. These incidents reportedly happened in her classroom, school utility rooms, her car, and even at a student's home, leading to 16 felony charges being filed against her. By February 2015, Hansen pleaded guilty to multiple charges, including unlawful acts with minors.
Teachers are supposed to protect students, not violate them. She is a predator.
I can't tell you how horrible it was to have the feeling I didn't protect him. I remember how devastating it was at the police station, telling him to be strong, to tell the truth, and to let the police help him.
I am not a student of the mind, nor of human behavior, but clearly the mental state of this defendant is in question. Calling the victims liars to cover up the web of lies herself.
During her April 2015 sentencing, the victims' mothers tearfully confronted her in court, describing the deep betrayal they felt as Hansen had gained their trust before hurting their families.
I would give anything that I have to take back the things that have gone on the last 2 years.
As these mothers said, you're a mother yourself.
Yes.
You know, and it's I do hope, as one of the parents expressed, that you've got to get some counseling.
Hansen cried as she apologized, but the judge questioned whether her remorse was genuine or only because she was caught. Despite objections from prosecutors calling the plea deal too lenient, she received 3 years in prison and could be released early for good behavior, leaving families demanding justice and counseling for everyone affected. The day after Christmas at the mall at Rockingham Park in Salem, New Hampshire, 18-year-old Ronald Joseph Marino III met someone to buy vape and marijuana-related products. Things took a sudden turn when a dispute reportedly broke out over the phone. According to investigators, the situation escalated and a young man suffered serious injuries. Thankfully, he was rushed to the hospital and is expected to recover. Police arrested Marino soon after and revealed that a boy was also involved.
There's a struggle over the victim's phone, and it's alleged that this defendant, while seen carrying a knife at that point, stabs the victim. He's hit in the torso, life-threatening injuries. As I understand it, he was at the edge of death at least twice. That's a out of Manchester that the defendant was an alleged participant in.
Prosecutors claimed Marino encouraged the boy during the incident and pointed to his prior probation violations, including a separate case under investigation.
I thought
RJ, I'm going to mute the defendant.
Wait,
please.
Can I just say something really fast?
RJ, you have an attorney, sir.
At his court hearing, Marino tried to speak out but was asked to remain quiet while attorneys presented their arguments.
I can tell the court that Mr. Marino absolutely disputes everything the state has said in terms of his conduct as alleged by the state, both in terms of the violations of probation as well as in the current matter.
The defense disputed the state's claims, but the judge ordered Marino to remain in custody until a probable cause hearing scheduled for the following week. One of his charges also included contributing to the delinquency of a minor because of the boy's involvement. Montez Cobb's encounters with the justice system began early. He had already been placed on probation 5 separate times for various juvenile offenses. Despite these repeated interventions, Cobb continued down a troubling path. In 2017, he carried out a series of robberies near Playhouse Square and Cleveland State University. Investigators described his actions as deliberate, with surveillance footage showing him planning his moves carefully. His first arrest dated back to 2012, marking a long pattern of criminal behavior before these events. Eventually, Cobb pleaded guilty to 6 robberies committed between March and June of 2017.
Constant slaps on the hand of people who engage in violent behavior is not working and hasn't worked for decades. And so all of us here at the Common Police Court are seeing younger and younger defendants who are more and more violent than they've ever been before. When a system slaps someone on the hand and there's no serious consequences, they'll continue to engage in bad behavior. There's no deterrent. And until everybody in the state decides to do something about reforming that system, these problems are not going to change. You know, it's interesting. I have had some meetings with people in our county jail who are members of gangs, because I wanted to get a better understanding of how they got involved in it and what we might be able to do. All of them told me they were recruited by gangs in the juvenile detention center. And they all told me that that's where their gang involvement began, and they didn't have a choice. It became clear to me that in addition to the slaps on the hands and the inadequate punishments given to juvenile court judges to implement, that there's obviously a problem in the juvenile detention system.
I was in the juvenile system. People wanted me to get on with punishment and all that, and I chose no. And because I chose no, I was getting into fights and all this other stuff every day. I had to watch my back when I go to the bathroom, I take a shower, when I'm sitting down watching TV. I chose no. And I still got assaulted, beat on, and just a lot of things.
And I don't doubt that one.
So how can they say they didn't have no choice? They did have a choice. They just took.
Well, their choice was that they didn't want to get beat up. So that underscores exactly what I was told. There's a problem in the juvenile justice system. But it still doesn't explain your problems. You were out in the public, free to do what you wanted, and you chose to do the wrong thing over and over.
At sentencing, Judge Nancy Margaret Russo openly criticized the juvenile court system for repeatedly giving Cobb probation despite warnings from his own mother that stronger measures were needed. She highlighted the emotional toll his actions had taken on many families before sentencing him to 30 years in prison, signaling an end to years of leniency. In early 2011, allegations surfaced against Mason High School teacher Stacy Schuler, accusing her of inappropriate relationships with 5 male students and providing alcohol to boys and girls. She resigned from her position as the investigation unfolded, and by February 2011, prosecutors filed multiple counts of sexual battery and misdemeanor charges. That same month, she was released from jail after Judge Robert Peeler approved her request to remove the electronic monitoring bracelet, with prosecutors raising no objections.
Never been in trouble in her life, and that's why we ask that the bond be reduced to an OR bond.
I just want to point out that this is a very serious charge. Your conduct between now and the time you have an opportunity to have a trial is very important for your freedom. You understand that, Ms. Schuler?
The reported incidents had taken place off school grounds between August and December 2010, drawing widespread attention from both the public and media. By October 2011, a judge convicted Schuler and sentenced her to 4 years in prison, rejecting her insanity defense and stressing the seriousness of her role as a teacher. However, she became eligible for parole after serving just 6 months and was ultimately released in late 2012 after about a year behind bars. Upon release, she was required to register as a sex offender and follow strict probation conditions. In September 2024, 24-year-old Victor Krivaric, son of former San Diego County GOP Chair Tony Krivaric, was arrested after authorities discovered an illegal assault weapon at his home. A restraining order was issued, citing his online threats and previous possession of banned items.
In this matter, he pled guilty to count 1, possession of an assault weapon.
Facing a felony charge, Krivaric later entered a no-contest plea without any deal from prosecutors, which carried the risk of up to 3 years in prison.
He has expressed remorse for his conduct. After considering the nature of the offense, the defendant, and the public interest, the court is going to punish him pursuant to Penal Code Section 17B as a misdemeanor.
By December 2024, Judge Dwayne Mooring considered Krivaric's lack of prior criminal record, his remorse, and community support before reducing the felony to a misdemeanor.
We appreciate the judge separating the facts from the rhetoric that's been going on here, and we're pleased to put this misdemeanor behind us. We all know that if he were not my son, none of you would be here. And so with that, thank you very much. Merry Christmas.
That said, it was the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force. I mean, that's, anytime they're involved, the media's involved, regardless of who it is. No comment?
Do you accept probation pursuant to these terms? Yes, Your Honor.
Instead of prison time, Krivaric was sentenced to 1 year of probation under strict conditions, including a firearm ban, warrantless search agreement, and destruction of the weapon, bringing the case to a close. On New Year's Day, 2025, 22-year-old Pierce County Corrections Deputy Cameron Boucher left a Tacoma bar after drinking and headed toward his truck. His ex-girlfriend, who was also reportedly intoxicated, approached him but fell near the vehicle. Moments later, she was injured when Boucher's truck moved, leaving her with serious injuries. Bystanders quickly stepped in to stop him from leaving, and when police arrived, Boucher was taken into custody after failing a sobriety test. His blood alcohol level was found to be more than twice the legal limit. The following day, Boucher appeared in court facing vehicular assault and DUI charges.
The state has concerns for the defendant's behavior while intoxicated.
Boucher pleaded not guilty, and the judge set his bail at $75,000, which he later posted. County officials confirmed he was still technically employed while the investigation continued, though the case brought immediate legal and professional consequences for the probationary deputy. On the evening of December 28, 2024, a 63-year-old man was seriously injured after being struck by a vehicle near White Rock and Hartwell Avenues in Waukesha County. Neighbors said they didn't hear a crash, just saw first responders rushing to help the victim lying in the road. He was later found to have multiple injuries.
There was no screeching, there was no car. There was a guy laying in the road. I have no idea if he was crossing or anything. I just know that they were treating him in the street there. There was a lot of alcohol cans, just emptied beverages all up and down the street right in this area.
Police quickly tracked the suspect's vehicle using traffic cameras and arrested 57-year-old Tara Felton at her home. Officers noted she appeared intoxicated and made a confusing remark about whether the victim was a person, a vehicle, or a squirrel.
And when they made contact with the defendant at her residence, she had extremely red, glossy, bloodshot eyes and slurred speech.
To question whether that was a person or a squirrel, that is mind-blowing for a lot of reasons.
Investigators also discovered she had 2 prior impaired driving offenses. She was charged with injury by intoxicated use of a vehicle and hit and run causing injury, both felonies, and held on a $40,000 bail. Months later, on June 5th, 2025, Felton pleaded no contest to the charges. A judge sentenced her to 2 years in prison, followed by 3 years of supervision, along with 50 hours of community service. A third charge related to alcohol concentration was dismissed. In early 2019, Deadwood police began investigating suspected drug activity at apartment 15 after a tenant reported finding a suspicious bag in the building's communal dryer. The bag tested positive for methamphetamine, and the same tenant had previously reported discovering another bag of the drug in the hallway. At the same time, a drug investigator had been gathering information on the same apartment, adding weight to the suspicions. Based on these findings, police sought and obtained a search warrant for the apartment, a vehicle, and urine samples from residents Carrie Lynn Osby and Dana Olmstead. The search revealed multiple bags containing methamphetamine, and both Osby and Olmstead tested positive for the drug. They were charged with various controlled substance offenses. However, a circuit judge later suppressed the evidence, claiming the warrant lacked sufficient cause.
She knew they were Olmstead's clothes because she watched him take them from the dryer. She went to the apartment and asked him to remove them. And then immediately after he removed them, she found a substance that she believed to be methamphetamine. Law enforcement then corroborated that report by field testing the substance, which was presumptively positive for methamphetamine. So it's not like we just have, oh, I found meth, I think it might be his. We have a detailed description of what she saw.
Law enforcement shows up at the apartment. They look in the community dryer. They find the baggie. They test it, and it comes back positive, presumptively for methamphetamine. The question is there a nexus or a connection to the criminal activity in the communal dryer going back to apartment 15 where the search warrant was ultimately executed?
In 2024, the South Dakota Supreme Court overruled this decision, stating police had enough credible information for the search and that the warrant was valid, allowing the evidence to be used in court. In April 2019, Oliver Lovat, a youth counselor on the Disney Magic cruise ship, faced serious allegations involving a boy during a group activity. Reports stated that the incident was captured on surveillance cameras, and the boy's initial testimony supported the claims. Lovat was taken into custody soon after, setting the stage for a highly publicized legal battle.
What is the state's offer at this time?
The state has offered to reduce the charges to misdemeanor battery with credit time served.
You wish to accept that offer at this time?
By November 2019, prosecutors offered Lovat a plea deal that would have reduced the charges to misdemeanor battery with credit for time served, but he refused and chose to proceed to trial. Surprisingly, only days later, all charges were dropped after the boy's deposition described the contact as brief and possibly accidental, and the family expressed concerns about the strain a full In March 2015, drivers on Buffalo's Gifford 90 witnessed a tense encounter when a pickup truck swerved in front of a sedan near the Clinton Street exit, causing the other car to leave the lane abruptly. A bystander recorded the scene, capturing the driver, later identified as 46-year-old James Woelfel, getting out of his truck and tossing something toward the other vehicle. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but police called it one of the most concerning driving incidents they had seen in years.
You win the argument, you're going to lose the battle. What if you get in an accident? What if someone else gets hurt? And then, by the grace of God, again, in this incident, no one did. But think past it. What happens if something goes wrong that you obviously cannot control and can't predict?
Woelfel was later arrested and brought before Buffalo City Court, where he pleaded not guilty to reckless endangerment charges. Records showed this wasn't his first legal issue. He had prior convictions for impaired driving in 2001 and 2003, harassment in 2004, and marijuana possession in 2013. Authorities said the viral video raised awareness about the dangers of aggressive driving and urged drivers to stay calm and avoid confrontations on the road. Adrian Broner, a well-known boxing champion, was sued after a 2018 nightclub incident and was ordered by a court to pay nearly $830,000 in damages. By late 2020, he appeared in court claiming he was broke, saying he had only $13 to his name. However, around the same time, a video surfaced on his social media showing him flashing large amounts of cash. When the judge questioned him, Broner said the money came from friends helping him out, but he couldn't provide clear financial records as the court had repeatedly requested.
I don't know what you guys want me to do. I'm answering the questions. When I answer the question, that's all I did have on me. I don't have no. I got rich friends. I do. I got rich friends. I got wealthy friends that take care of me.
Where's all the money coming from that you're flashing around on Instagram? Whose money is that?
So Your Honor,
I asked him.
It's getting sent to me. I don't
By
have
who? Who's sending you money?
my friends.
They're sending you. Why would they send you money?
Because I asked if I need to pay. Listen, I got a big heart. I'll show you. I got a big heart. And when I did have money and everybody asked me for money, I gave it to them. And now that they see me that I need help, if I ask,
So tell us who's sending you money.
my friends. I can ask Javante Davis, Al Heyman. I can ask Steven Espinosa. I ask anybody.
How are they sending you the money? These are the kinds of things Mr. Chandler's going to need to know.
They sending it through the bank, and it's coming to my account, and I'm
Being
spending
directly
it.
deposited into your account.
Yes.
Yet none of that information was provided to Mr. Chandler, was it?
I don't know how to do this, but I can show you.
I thought you didn't have any financial statements.
Who said what?
That's what it says in here.
I don't have no money.
any.
I get sent money and I spend it. I gotta spend it on bills.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I gotta spend it on bills.
Well, as I said,
I don't
you've not
know.
responded. I think you're not helping yourself right now with this.
But what I'm saying is this. How do I do all of this? I don't know how to do
Your
this.
lawyer will help you do it.
And, huh?
Your lawyer will help you do it.
I don't know how to do it.
That's why you have a lawyer. You're going to have to cooperate with them. and let them
Okay,
guide
what
you.
I'm saying is this, Your Honor. This is what I'm saying. If I'm incarcerated, how can I do all of this? I have to go
He
to
can
the.
visit you.
No, but
You can sign
but he
authorization.
can't.
I'm
he
sorry,
can't-
one at a time. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I
You can
apologize.
sign authorization. You can sign authorization forms. I'm not taking questions from the back.
No. What I'm saying is this. I want to get them the information, but I don't know what to give them. I don't know what to. It was a lot of questions I didn't understand. I answered them to the best of my ability. They got the email I sent. I answered all of these. I did, and I can show you an email on my phone now. I answered these questions, and I told them I don't have a counsel. I answered them to the best of my ability. I did
Mr. Runner,
everything.
I'm not changing my mind. I understand you, and I'm listening to you, but I'm not changing my mind.
Oh, all right, I
So
understand.
you're going to have to work this out with your lawyer.
We will get those answers now.
Right, as soon as you get them answered, I'll release you from county jail.
So
And
if-
not a minute until.
So how can
You
so
have to
I
work
gotta.
that out with your lawyer. I can't
Okay,
give you-
no, what I'm asking is.
Mr. Brown, we'll get it.
No, I just want, please, because I don't understand what I'm going to jail for right now, and I answered the
You're
questions.
going to jail for civil indirect contempt.
Okay, so I gotta say a different answer to the questions?
I'm not going to give you legal advice. You have to talk to your lawyer.
We'll talk. She wants more detail.
These are not things that I can advise you on. You have to talk to your lawyer. He'll tell you things you can object to, what you can do, what your rights are, but you have not fully completed comply with my order. You're going to fully comply with my order, or you're going to sit in jail till you do.
Okay, Ms. Nancy, now, I got a fight coming up January 16th.
Well, I hope it doesn't take you that long to answer these questions.
No, what I'm saying is this. After the fight, I can just pay them.
That's irrelevant to me. You know what? I'm not interested. I'm not here to listen to people say I'm going to give you the money here and there and disregard every court order in the interim. This is a problem, Mr. Broner, because you have ignored basically every order I have given you. And now there is a punishment. I've given you extensions. I've given you time. I trust you're going to get this done well before your January fight.
Frustrated by his lack of cooperation, the judge held Broner in contempt and ordered him to jail until he submitted complete and truthful financial documents. He was told his upcoming fight or personal plans didn't excuse him from following court orders, and he would remain in custody until he complied. In August 2020, following several days of civil unrest in Kenosha, Wisconsin, Kyle Rittenhouse traveled from his home in Antioch, Illinois to Kenosha. Earlier, on August 25th, he was seen helping clean graffiti from local buildings. Later that day, he and a group gathered at a business called Car Source, where previous nights had left property damaged. Their stated aim was to protect the property and assist anyone who needed first aid. As evening fell, Rittenhouse carried a medical kit, a weapon, and a fire extinguisher. He spoke with reporters, saying he was there to help, not to cause trouble. At one point, he and another man, Ryan Balch, walked along Sheridan Road, offering basic medical assistance to people in the area. When Rittenhouse became separated from his companion and tried to return to the original Car Source lot, police had set up a line blocking access. He obeyed their instructions and instead moved toward the Ultimate gas station, where more people had gathered. There, he received a phone call saying another Car Source lot further south was experiencing property damage. Someone at the station handed him a fire extinguisher so he could respond. On his way to the lot, Rittenhouse repeatedly called out, "Friendly, friendly, friendly," to show he was not looking for conflict. He saw small fires and moved forward to put them out. At that point, several individuals confronted him, leading to a chaotic series of encounters. Feeling surrounded and fearing for his safety, Rittenhouse fired his weapon. 2 people tragically lost their lives, and 1 was injured during these moments. Afterward, Rittenhouse walked toward police vehicles with his hands raised, but in the confusion of the night, officers directed him to leave rather than detaining him immediately. Later that night, he turned himself in to the authorities in Illinois. Rittenhouse was charged with multiple counts, including homicide and reckless endangerment. During the trial in November 2021, the judge dismissed 2 charges: weapon possession by a minor and curfew violation due to legal grounds.
People were over there. I was pepper sprayed by somebody that was in the crowd. I don't know why, but I was pepper sprayed.
Did you do anything in retaliation?
I did not.
Now, directing your attention to later in the evening, did there come an occasion where you had contact with Mr. McGinnis?
There was.
And before this evening, August 25th, 2020, had you ever met or spoke to Mr. McGinnis?
I have not.
And you and Mr. McGinnis and Mr. Balch go someplace?
Yes.
And describe that.
I get done with my interview with Mr. McGinnis and I ask him, Mr. McGinnis, no, I don't ask him. I said, if you want to come with us, that's fine, to document and film me and Ryan helping people. And he said, yeah, sure, and he followed behind us.
And in that tape for Mr. McGinnis, there's talk about you being an EMT, correct?
Yes.
Are you an EMT?
I am not.
You have first aid and other training?
I do.
And you go to south on Sheridan Road?
Correct.
You cross 60th and Sheridan Road?
I believe we stayed just to the right going south on Sheridan Road.
And eventually you cross Sheridan Road?
Eventually.
And were the Bearcats there yet?
No. Yes, they were.
Okay. Had they set up a line to stop people that you were aware of?
Not that I was aware of. I just know they were parked right there and people were throwing rocks at them.
Okay. Did anybody tell you not to cross that line? You wouldn't be able to go back?
Not until later in the evening.
Okay. You cross that line, and where do you go?
We continue straight in a southerly direction down Sheridan Road.
Okay. Were you going any place in particular?
No, we were just going to see if anybody needed medical help, and I looked at a guy's shoulder on the way there.
Okay. And you finish with the guy's shoulder, and you continue on, and what happens?
I continue walking in a southern.
With a question.
It was a sarcastic remark.
Okay. Did you engage with him any further?
No.
And from there, where do you go?
There, I continue walking in a southerly direction, merging towards the middle of Sheridan Road.
Okay, at that point, do you become aware of anything?
In about as I'm walking, I start to look because I realize Mr. Balch is not with me anymore.
Okay, did you continue on your way down Sheridan Road without Mr. Balch?
No, I actually went to go look for Mr. Balch in the Ultimate Gas Station parking lot.
Okay, when you went to the Ultimate Gas Station parking lot, describe what was going on there.
There were a lot of people there. I don't really know what was going on. I was just focused on trying to find Mr. Balch. As I was looking for him, couldn't find him. I said, okay, no problem. I'll just go back to the car source number 2.
Okay, and describe what happened as you did that.
As I did that, I received a phone call from Dominic Black.
Okay, let me back up. Were you able to get back to car source number 2?
No, I did not.
Describe that.
As I was trying to get back, the police stopped me. Well, didn't stop me. They told me, I believe they said something along the lines of to not go down there. And I was telling them, hey, I need to go down there. That's where I'm at, that business. I don't remember exactly how that conversation went, but they wouldn't let me go back to car source lot number 2.
So you weren't able to get back to car source 2?
I was not.
Did you disobey the police's order?
No.
And you're alone, you're stuck on the other side of the police line from the car source 2. Where do you go?
I go to where there's other people at the gas station protecting the gas station, and I go there because I believe that's the safest place to go because there's other people there. And
at that point, were you able to find Mr. Balch?
I was not.
Well, you're at the Ultimate Gas Station, I think we've been calling it?
Correct.
Pointed out.
Asked an individual if he could come with me and if I could have a fire extinguisher to put out the fires.
Were both of those requests satisfied?
One of them were.
What?
I was given a fire extinguisher, but he said he can't come with me, and he said he believes there's already people down there helping protect the business.
Okay. And what did you do then?
I start running towards the car source lot number 3 to put out the fires, pausing occasionally to catch my breath and walk.
Okay. On the way to car source 3, did you have any interaction with Mr. Rosenbaum?
I did not.
Did you speak to Mr. Rosenbaum?
No.
Did you notice Mr. Rosenbaum doing anything as you went down to car source 3?
I didn't notice Mr. Rosenbaum until he came out from behind the car and ambushed me.
Okay, I'll get to that. Did you run the whole way?
No, I didn't.
Okay. You had your gun, correct?
Yes.
And you had a fire extinguisher?
Yes.
And you had your medic?
My medical bag, yes.
And were you asking people about medic at that point?
I was asking people if they needed medical help as I was getting down there.
Did you receive any responses?
No, I didn't.
Describe your approach to car source number 3.
As I'm walking down Sheridan Road, I hear somebody scream, "Burn in hell," and I replied with friendly, friendly, friendly to let them know, hey, I'm just here to help. I don't want any problems. I just want to put out the fires if there are any. I continue walking, and then I noticed the Duramax. I noticed a flame in the back seat of the Duramax, and I stepped towards the Duramax, and as I'm stepping forward, I believe his name is now Joshua Zeminski. He steps towards me with a pistol in his hand, and as I'm walking towards to put out the fire, I drop the fire extinguisher and I take a step back.
Okay. You step back from Mr. Zeminski.
And there were three people right there.
Take a deep breath, Kyle.
That's what That's what I run.
We're going to just take time for our break anyway. You can just relax for a minute, sir. We're going to take a break about 10 minutes, and please don't talk about the case during the break. Read, watch, or listen to any account of the trial.
Rittenhouse testified that he acted in self-defense, stating that one of the individuals had ambushed him and that he feared for his life. On November 19th, 2021, after reviewing all evidence, a jury found Kyle Rittenhouse not guilty on all remaining charges, bringing the trial to a close. In April 2020, Sean Tyler Willis lived with his mother, Sandy Willis, in Anderson County, Tennessee. On the morning of April 20th, a family acquaintance was asked to check on Sandy after Sean said he couldn't wake her. When emergency responders arrived, they found Sandy had passed away, and investigators began looking into the circumstances surrounding her death. Early explanations from Sean about what happened didn't match the evidence, which raised concerns for both family members and law enforcement. Over the following weeks, detectives continued their investigation. On May 5th, 2020, during an interview at the Anderson County Sheriff's Office, Sean admitted to what had happened after initially giving a different account. Prosecutors later said the incident began with a disagreement at home earlier that morning. Because of the seriousness of the case, Sean was charged with first-degree murder. A trial was scheduled for August 2025, but the day before it was set to begin, Sean agreed to a plea deal. In open court, he pled guilty to a reduced charge of second-degree murder.
As to count one, which has been amended to second-degree murder, how do you plead, Mr. Willis?
Guilty.
Are you pleading guilty because you are in fact guilty?
Yes, sir.
The court accepts your waiver and calls upon the state for evidence. How will you proceed, General?
Yes, Your Honor. On April 20th of 2020, police and emergency services were dispatched out to a home at 159 Andes Ridge Road in Anderson County. When they arrived, they encountered a female, later identified as Sandy Willis, deceased in her bed with massive head trauma. The scene was preserved for investigators to come and process as a crime scene. Interviews were done on the scene and photographs were taken. The investigation yielded the following information: that on that morning around 11 a.m., Sean Willis had called Sherman Riffey, a volunteer firefighter and the father of his girlfriend at the time, to come to his house because he could not wake his mother, Sandy Willis. Sherman Riffey came out to the residence to assist. When he arrived, he found Sandy Willis with no pulse and massive head trauma. Mr. Riffey was the one who called 911 to summon assistance. Sean Willis was interviewed on the scene by law enforcement, and he initially said that he had woken up that morning and the front door was open and that he had noticed his mother's phone wasn't charging. So he went upstairs to put his mother's phone on a charger, which is when he discovered her unresponsive. That story later changed multiple times upon questioning by law enforcement and members of his family. These stories were inconsistent with each other and the evidence at the crime scene. This defendant's change in behavior and demeanor was also alarming to his family and raised suspicions of the family and law enforcement. On May 5th of 2020, this defendant was interviewed by Detective Don Scalia at the Anderson County Sheriff's Office. Initially, this defendant gave the story that he had initially given to law enforcement about him waking up and the front door being open and going upstairs to check his mother's phone. After being confronted by the officer about how his story wasn't making sense, the defendant broke down and admitted to shooting his mother after an argument about his cell phone where she had taken it away from him that morning. He also spoke to his father, Jeremy Willis, at the conclusion of the interview, where he cried and admitted to his father that he had killed his mother and that he was sorry. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation assisted in this investigation, and experts were prepared to testify at trial that the fatal bullet came from the defendant's own, or that the victim's own gun, and that this defendant's clothing tested positive for shot residue. The Regional Forensic Center's autopsy report, as amended, yielded the information that this victim was initially shot in the back of the head as she laid in her bed asleep, and that shot did not penetrate her skull, causing her to move, and she was shot again in the temple, which was the fatal shot and cause of death. All of these events happened in Anderson County. The state of Tennessee, via the District Attorney's Office, would like to thank the Anderson County Sheriff's Office, the Anderson County Child Advocacy Center, and the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation for their hard work in this case. Members of the Willis family are present here in this courtroom, and some members will be giving a victim impact statement in this case, Your Honor. And this agreement has been approved by the family.
Thank you. Mr. Willis, do you agree that those are the facts that the state would be able to prove if we proceeded to a jury trial?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Corey, are those facts consistent with your investigation?
Yes, Your Honor.
This time I'm going to ask you to take a seat, Mr. Willis.
Family members spoke in court, sharing how much Sandy meant to them and how deeply her loss affected their lives.
I'm sitting here in this courtroom broken, hearted, and torn. You were very selfish in so many ways. You took my wife, the woman I was supposed to grow old with, and I'll never get a chance to experience that with your selfish act. You took your brother's mom away with your selfish act. JJ doesn't have his mom no more. He always called her for advice, vent to, or just to talk to. JJ will never hear "I love you" or "have a good day" from his mom again. Dylann can't go and hug his mom for comfort. Dylann will never hear "I love you" again from his mom again. He will never hear his mom's voice again. With all that said, I won't be able to finish raising my son, Sean. And JJ and Dylann both won't be able to play or grow with you. Not only have you taken my wife, you've taken your brother's mom, a sister, a daughter, a sister-in-law, a daughter-in-law, a best friend, and a wonderful, loving, happy, caring person. On April 2020, we lost 2 family members. I love you, but I do not agree in any way, shape, or form on what you have done. Mom didn't deserve what you have done. She battled cancer and beat it for all of us. I hope at some time you realize what you have done, how much you have messed up, not only JJ, Dylann's, or my life, but all the other lives that was impacted with this. And you've also messed yours up too. At the start of this, I said I was brokenhearted and torn because I say that this is a bitter and sweet moment. I am glad justice is being served for Mom. I am sad because of who done it. I have no words to close the statements. All I can say is that I love you. I miss who you was. I love and miss Mom, and I hope you understand who you took away and what you have done. Thank you.
My name's Lucian. I am Sean's older brother. You will never grasp the pain that you caused. You didn't just take a life, you took our mother, the strongest woman I've ever known, and my best friend, my anchor, the person that I needed most. She fought through so much, including breast cancer, just to be here with us, and you took her away. You took away the future of any of my children that I might have, their grandmother. You took away a mother, a wife, a friend, a daughter, a sister, all in one moment. Every day I ask myself, what gave you the right to choose who lived and who died? What gave you the right to take her from us? I stand before you in court, not for closure, but to make it abundantly clear that the brother I once knew is gone. The person you are now is a stranger, and that bond is broken forever. There will always be a part of me that remembers the good times because that's how Mom raised us. and the person you became and the actions you took has forever changed my view. Again, you took more than a mother, you took the family's peace, and that is something you will never undo. With all that said, and after everything she did, not only for me and everyone else, but especially for you, Sean, what reason do you have for this? I don't want excuses. All I want is the truth from you. Why?
This is a victim's impact statement for Darlene Fields, who couldn't be here today. Darlene and me and her sister, your mom, we all grew up together, elementary school. Knew each other our whole lives. She just ended up happening to marry my brother and have children with him. For 27 years, Sandy was more than just my friend. She was my sister, my heart, my safe place in this world. We grew up together, weathered every season of life side by side, and shared a bond that only comes once in a lifetime. Losing her has broken me in ways I can't fully explain. Losing her in such a violent way at the hands of her own son has left a wound that will never heal.
Some expressed grief and anger, while others spoke of forgiveness. When it was his turn, Sean apologized, said he accepted responsibility, and hoped to explain more to his family in the future.
This courtroom is not a place for closure. Jury trials do not provide that. I wish that they did. I wish our justice system could provide people with the closure that they need. The reality is, if we had proceeded to trial in this case, it would have lasted weeks. The lawyers would have presented only glimpses into the life of Miss Willis, only glimpses that would be blocked out by evidentiary rules into the family life. The trial would have been very painful. The proposed resolution is just, so even though you all may feel like you've given up something by consenting to this agreement, you all made the right decision. There's a value in the certainty that comes with a plea agreement. Trials last a long time. Things can go wrong in the course of a trial, and you never know what a jury's going to do. And then it creates a pretty lengthy appellate process. So there's certainty today in what you all have done. And I do appreciate getting to hear more about the life of Miss Willis. At this time, when he's ready, I'm going to need him to come back to the podium. Mr. Willis, the court finds you guilty and imposes the recommended sentence as follows. You will be sentenced to 30 years on the charge of second-degree murder. This will be served in the custody of the Tennessee Department of Corrections. There is no parole eligibility in this case. You may earn up to 15% good time. You are being sentenced as a range 2 offender, even though you are not a range 2 offender. Based on this agreement, you have agreed to be sentenced at a higher range in exchange for agreeing to a lower charge. Do you understand that? Yes. Do you have any questions at all about your sentence? Additionally, we're imposing court costs. Anything else from either of the parties?
The court accepted the plea agreement and sentenced Sean to 30 years in the Tennessee Department of Corrections. Under the terms of the deal, the sentence will be served in full, bringing the long legal process to a close. On July 28, 2024, 24-year-old Paige Kalich was at her home in Akron, Ohio. preparing a meal for her family when a confrontation outside turned tragic. Earlier in the day, she had been involved in an argument with Corvette Pope, who later returned to the home with her brother, Denzel Pope. When Paige briefly stepped outside, an incident occurred that ended her life while her family was nearby, leaving her family and community in shock. Investigators quickly identified both Denzel and Corvette as suspects. Evidence gathered through witness accounts, messages, and security footage connected them to the crime. Denzel was arrested and later convicted at trial, while Corvette chose to cooperate with authorities. In May 2025, she pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter and obstructing justice, admitting her role in what happened and agreeing to testify against her brother.
Ms. Couch was gunned down on July 28th of 2024. She was gunned down in front of her toddler son, and feet away was her daughter. To say her death was senseless is an understatement. At the time of the Paige was at home with her son, preparing a meal. She stepped out only briefly, was gunned down by Denzel Pope as his sister Corvette Pope watched. The state is asking for 5 years in prison for Corvette Pope.
During her sentencing on August 11, 2025, Paige's family gave emotional statements about the impact of losing her, how she was a loving mother, sister, and friend.
Thank you. All right, on behalf of Ms. Kalich's family.
Your Honor, the victim does not wish to be on video camera.
Okay, so I will inform the media then not to video her as she makes her statement. Come on up to the podium. Yes, ma'am. And then if you would just state your full name for the record, please.
My name is Pamela Murray, and I'm waiting on behalf of Jamie Kalich, the sister of Paige Kalich.
Go ahead.
There are no words strong enough to capture the pain that has been inflicted on our family. My name is Jamie Kalich, and I'm the older sister of Paige Kalich, who was tragically taken from us. In her own home just one day after celebrating her 24th birthday. She was more than just a sister. She was a daughter, a mother, a friend, and a bright light in all of our lives. She was funny, smart, kind, and full of love. She had so many plans, so many dreams for herself, and especially for her 2 children. She never got the chance to see those dreams come to life. Instead, her life ended violently and senselessly, right in front of the 2 people she loved more than anything in the world, her babies. I cannot begin to explain what it's like to look into the eyes of a child who has just watched their mother die. They cry for her at night. They ask questions I will never have good enough answers for. They cling to me now, needing comfort and safety I pray every day I can somehow give them. I never planned to be a mother overnight, but now I am, for them. Because they deserve love and stability even in the shadow of unspeakable trauma. My sister should be here. She should be tucking her kids in at night. She should be laughing with them, teaching them and protecting them. That was stolen from her, and it was stolen from them, and it was stolen from me too. This kind of pain does not end with the funeral. It follows us every day, every birthday, every holiday, every milestone in the children's lives, and they will be missing their mother, and I'll be missing my sister. Your Honor, I'm asking that you recognize the gravity of what's been done to our family. My sister's life mattered. Her children's trauma is real. My grief is permanent. The consequences of this crime extend far beyond one act. It has shattered an entire family. I carry this pain every day, but I also carry my sister's memory. I will raise her children with all the love she had given to them, and I will never stop wishing things could have been different.
Thank you very much.
T-O-M as in Mary, L-I-N as in Nancy.
Ms. Tomlin, go ahead, please.
I was one of Paige's really good friends. She was very caring, very strong. Like, she was a ball of energy. Like, she helped a lot of people. She cared about a lot of people. If you were one of her friends and you had children that was around, she'd treat your kids like hers. And the way that she got taken away from us, it wasn't right, it wasn't fair, and nobody deserved it. Her kids, her mom, her sister, nobody. She had a lot of people that was behind her and had her back, just like how she had our back. And it's just really not fair that she's not here to be with us anymore and can continue to be there with her kids and to keep making memories with us. And I just really hope that my friend gets justice for what was done to her and done to her kids. And I just want everyone to know that she was a very bright soul. She was a very great person to get to know. Thank you. We won't be able to see her no more.
Thank you very much.
Corvette apologized in court, expressing regret for her actions and acknowledging the pain caused.
I wanted to apologize for my actions the night of Paige's death, and I'm truly sorry to her family and friends and her children for my actions and also my brother's actions. And I hope one day that you guys can forgive us.
All right, thank you. Well, a couple things. I reviewed the pre-sentence investigation as well as the written victim impact statements. I sat through the trial last week of Denzel Pope. I listened to the evidence, and what astonishes me more than anything is that over a physical fight, the death of someone resulted. And if this is how people in their 20s handle controversy, our society is doomed. Because that is not how we handle controversy. Furthermore, I love the way that you have somehow turned all of this as if you're the hero. I understand that the state has a responsibility to maybe make a deal with the bad actor in order to get the worst actor. Make a deal with the devil and get the devil's other half. But you are not innocent in this. I knew it from the time you testified. You minimized your behavior. Your friend Honesty took the stand. And she, by the way, I believe is the only one that told the truth that day. You weren't going over there to get an apology. Who goes to get the apology? The apology comes to you. You were going over there to beat up Paige, and that's why you had Honesty and your brother with you as backup. So for you to sit there and claim all of these things, I was not born under a rock, neither was the jury, and they didn't believe that portion of your testimony. You had guns in your house. Your brother clearly came out of your house with that gun. You have children in that house, and you let him store a gun in that house. You knew he committed a robbery in February in Youngstown, was on bond, knew he was charged with weapons charges, wasn't allowed to have a weapon then, and still let him have weapons in your house. So you are not an innocent actor. You are not the savior of the state's case. I believe the evidence was strong enough they could have proceeded and convicted Denzel without your testimony. And you'd be looking at significantly longer time in prison. That being said, you are not deserving of community control. And therefore, based on the facts and circumstances of this case and consideration of the relevant sentencing factors, applying the minimum sanction the court has determined will protect the public and punish the offender without imposing an unnecessary burden on state or local resources. I'm imposing the following. On the amended charge of involuntary manslaughter, a felony of the first degree, I'm giving you an indefinite sentence of a minimum of 5 to a maximum of 7.5 years in the Ohio Department of Corrections. On count 7, obstructing justice, I'm giving you 36 months in the Ohio Department of Corrections. I'm running those 2 counts concurrent and not consecutive for a total indefinite sentence of 5 to 7.5 years in the Ohio Department of Corrections. I find that these charges clearly do not merge based on the evidence and the acts that happened during and after. Furthermore, I find that after serving your sentence, you will be facing 2 to 5 years of mandatory post-release control, which again is supervision by the Adult Parole Authority. Any violations of their rules could subject you to being returned to prison for up to half of your prison term for all violations of their rules and regulations. You'll be given credit for 378 days that you have served in the Summit County Jail.
The judge sentenced her to 5 to 7.5 years in prison, noting her cooperation, but also her involvement in the events. Just days later, on August 15, 2025, Denzel Pope was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years. The court emphasized the senseless nature of the tragedy and the lasting effect it had on Paige's family, bringing the legal case to a close while the emotional wounds remain. Big thanks to our viewers for joining the courtroom journey with us. Your interest in the stories of justice is what keeps our channel alive.